My fiancée left me after I poured my inheritance into her eco-design studio. Months later, she came crawling back, but I'd already set in motion a reckoning she couldn't escape. The air in Portland tonight is thick with the kind of damp chill that sneaks into your bones, the kind that makes you crave a stiff drink in a warm corner. I'm standing outside the Rusty Anchor, a dive bar tucked along the Willamette River, its neon sign buzzing like a trapped firefly, casting a sickly green glow across the wet cobblestones. The river's just beyond, a dark ribbon slicing through the city, its surface rippling under the weight of a late October drizzle. I can smell the rain, mixed with the faint tang of diesel from a passing barge. My phone vibrates in my pocket, a text from Sophie. I'm leaving. I'm sorry, my stomach lurches, like I've just missed a step on a staircase I didn't see. I stare at the words, the screen blurring as raindrops smear across it. She's gone. Not just from the bar, not just from our loft in the Pearl District, but from us. And the kicker? She's taken my heart, my trust, and the $85,000 0 cents I poured into her dream. I shove the phone back into my jacket, my boots scuffing the pavement, as I push through the bar's heavy oak door, the weight of her betrayal settling like lead in my chest. How the hell did we get here? 4 years ago, I was just Ethan Caldwell. 29 now, but 25 then. A tech bro grinding away at a startup in Portland's Silicon Forest, building software to optimize solar panel efficiency. Not exactly saving the world, but close enough to feel good about it. The Rusty Anchor was my after-hours haunt, a place where the bartenders knew my order, IPA, local, nothing too hoppy, and the jukebox played Springsteen on repeat. That's where I met Sophie Harper, 26, a whirlwind of a woman with a sketchbook always tucked under her arm, her chestnut hair spilling over her shoulders like she'd just stepped out of a Pacific Northwest postcard. She was sitting at the end of the bar, sketching furiously, her pencil skittering across the page until it slipped from her fingers and rolled under my stool. I picked it up, handed it back, and caught her eye, hazel, sharp, like she could see right through me. "Thanks," she said, her voice soft but steady. "I'm always losing things when I'm in the zone." We got to talking. She was a freelance interior designer obsessed with sustainable materials, reclaimed wood, recycled glass, fabrics dyed with plant extracts. Her passion was contagious, the way her eyes lit up when she described turning a crumbling warehouse into a living space that felt like an extension of the forest itself. I wasn't looking for love, I was too busy debugging code and dodging venture capital pitches, but Sophie had this way of pulling you in, like gravity. Our first date wasn't even a date, just a hike through Forest Park, the trail muddy and slick, the air heavy with the scent of pine and damp earth. She stopped every few steps to point out the way moss clung to the Douglas firs, or how the light filtered through the canopy, casting dappled shadows on the ground. "It's like nature's designing its own cathedral," she said, and I was hooked. Not on the forest, but on her. A year later, we moved in together, a loft in the Pearl District with floor-to-ceiling windows that framed the Willamette like a painting. The place was all exposed brick and polished concrete, the kind of urban chic that made you feel like you were living in a magazine spread. We'd sit on the balcony at dusk, sipping cheap Pinot Gris, watching the river catch fire with the sunset. Sophie was still freelancing, picking up small gigs, redoing a coffee shop here, a yoga studio there, but her real dream was bigger. A design studio of her own, Greenhaven Designs, specializing in eco-friendly interiors for Portland's elite. She had a business plan, thick as a novel, with supplier lists, cost projections, and market analysis targeting the city's eco-conscious upper crust. "It's a no-brainer," she'd say, spreading her sketches across our reclaimed wood dining table. "Portland's screaming for this, but banks don't lend to dreamers with no collateral." Then my granddad passed. A retired aerospace engineer who'd spent his life designing planes and hoarding cash in a trust fund. He left me $85,000, 0 cents, a windfall that felt like a cheat code for life. I didn't tell Sophie right away. I wanted to be smart about it, maybe invest in a mutual fund or a down payment on a house. But her dream was infectious, and one night over takeout from a food cart pod on Hawthorne, I floated the idea. What if we use the inheritance to kickstart Greenhaven? Her fork froze midair, her eyes wide. "Are you serious, Ethan? That's your money." I shrugged, trying to play it cool. It's an investment. Your plan's solid. I've run the numbers. Low risk, high reward. She hesitated, her fingers tracing the edge of her sketchbook, but I could see the spark in her eyes. She wanted this, bad. We spent weeks refining her plan. I connected her with a buddy from college, a startup consultant who helped tweak her projections. We found a space, a renovated warehouse in East Portland, its brick walls weathered by decades of rain, a glass roof letting in pale Oregon light, ivy crawling up the exterior like it was reclaiming the building for nature. We signed a partnership agreement, my name on every legal document, lease, business registration, invoices, as the silent investor. I fronted $70,000, 0 cents for rent, renovations, and initial inventory. Reclaimed oak for custom furniture, recycled glass for lighting, organic cotton for upholstery. Sophie handled the creative side, sketching layouts and sourcing materials, while I negotiated with contractors and balanced the books. It felt like we were unstoppable, a perfect team. Her vision, my pragmatism. Greenhaven Designs opened to a small crowd of Portland's hipster elite, sipping kombucha and snapping photos of Sophie's handcrafted tables. The studio was a hit, landing contracts with local tech firms and boutique hotels. I kept my day job, but weekends were for Greenhaven. Fixing the website, filing taxes, making sure the numbers added up. Sophie was in her element, charming clients with her pitch about designing spaces that breathe. For a while, it was perfect. We'd collapse on our couch at night, the city lights twinkling outside, laughing about how we were building something real. Then Clara showed up. Clara Bennett, Sophie's best friend from her undergrad days in Seattle, rolled into town like a storm cloud with a selfie stick. She was 27, all sharp cheekbones and curated Instagram feeds, calling herself a lifestyle influencer with 50,000 followers, who ate up her posts about manifesting abundance and feminine energy. I met her at a brew pub in Southeast Portland, the place packed with bearded guys in flannel and women in oversized scarves. Clara sized me up over her lavender-infused cocktail, her eyes narrowing. "So, you're the one bankrolling Sophie's dream." Her tone was half teasing, half accusing, like I'd committed some moral crime. "We're partners," I said, keeping my voice even. "It's a team effort." She smirked, swirling her drink. "Sure, but money talks louder than teamwork, right? Just don't let it turn into a power trip." Clara's influence was subtle at first, like a slow leak you don't notice until the room's flooded. She'd drop by our loft unannounced, her boots clacking on the concrete floor, always with some new idea for Sophie. "You need to build your personal brand," she'd say, scrolling through her phone. "The studio's great, but you are the story. People buy into people, not just furniture." Sophie started spending hours on Instagram, posting filtered photos of herself in the studio, her sketches artfully arranged, captions dripping with buzzwords, empowering spaces, empowering lives. The studio's aesthetic began to shift. Less reclaimed wood, more velvet armchairs and gold-scented mirrors that screamed Instagram bait, but didn't sell. Clients who'd loved our minimalist, eco-friendly vibe started drifting away. I tried to talk to her about it one night. The loft quiet except for the hum of the city outside. "Soph, the numbers are slipping. The sustainable stuff was our bread and butter. Maybe we dial back on the flashy pieces?" She was curled up on the couch, her phone glowing in her lap, her face half hidden by her hair. "You're so stuck in the past, Ethan," she said, not looking up. "Clara's got a friend who made bank just by curating her vibe online. It's about perception now, not just product." I bit my tongue, but the frustration was building. "Perception doesn't pay the rent," I said, sharper than I meant. She rolled her eyes, a gesture so unlike her it stung. "You wouldn't get it. You're all about spreadsheets, not vision." Clara introduced Sophie to a crew of female entrepreneurs, a group of women who met at overpriced networking events in wine bars with names like Vino Veritas. Sophie started shelling out hundreds for workshops on personal brand amplification and unlocking your inner CEO. I'd come home to find her glued to her laptop, signing up for courses that promised to 10x her influence, but delivered nothing but jargon. She'd quote Clara like scripture. "You need to surround yourself with high-vibe energy, Ethan. Low-frequency people hold you back." I'd laugh it off, but it hurt. Low frequency? I was the guy who'd bet everything on her dream. The studio became Sophie's stage. She stopped asking for my input, scheduling client meetings when she knew I was stuck in the office. She'd refer to Greenhaven as my studio in conversations, like I was just some guy who'd written a check. The Instagram posts got worse. Photos of her posing in front of half-finished projects, captions about building an empire from nothing. Nothing? I'd paid for every nail in that warehouse. I started noticing the comments. "Slay, queen, you're proof women don't need anyone to succeed." Clara was always there, hyping her up, her comments laced with hashtags like boss babe and break the patriarchy. The tension in our loft was palpable, like the air before a thunderstorm. The river outside our windows seemed to mirror it, its surface churning under gray clouds. I'd catch Sophie glancing at her engagement ring, a simple emerald-cut diamond I'd spent months saving for, like it was a shackle. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. "Soph, what's going on?" I asked, my voice low, the loft dark except for a single lamp casting shadows on the brick walls. "You're shutting me out of the business of us." She barely looked up from her phone. "You're being dramatic, Ethan. I'm just focusing on my growth. You wouldn't understand the creative side." Creative side. I'd been her biggest cheerleader, her sounding board, her partner. But now I was the enemy. It all came crashing down on a Tuesday evening, the kind of night where the rain doesn't just fall, it hammers the city, drumming against our windows like it's trying to get in. I got home late, my jacket soaked, the startup's latest project keeping me at the office until 9 p.m. Sophie was at the kitchen counter, her phone in hand, her face pale under the pendant light. The engagement ring sat on the counter between us, glinting like a warning. "We need to talk," she said, her voice flat, rehearsed. My heart sank. Those words never mean anything good. "I think I've outgrown this," she said, her eyes fixed on the counter. "I'm in a different place now, Ethan. I need to align with someone who matches my energy, who gets my vision." I stared at her, the woman I'd loved for 4 years, now a stranger spouting self-help buzzwords. "What are you saying?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Is this about the studio? Because we built that together." She shook her head, her hair falling like a curtain. "It's not just the studio. It's about me growing, evolving. You're comfortable. And I'm not meant for comfortable." Comfortable. The word hit like a slap. "You mean the comfort of me funding your entire dream?" I said, my voice rising, the rain outside matching my pulse. "The comfort of me handling the boring stuff so you could play artist?" Her eyes flashed, defensive. "See, this is why I can't do this. You reduce everything to money, Ethan. There's more to life than your precious bank account." I laughed, a bitter sound that echoed in the loft. "And there's more to life than Instagram likes, but you don't seem to care about that." She stood, grabbing her purse, her movements sharp. "Clara was right about you. You're threatened by my success. You can't handle a woman who doesn't need you." I wanted to scream. Threatened? I'd poured my life into her dream. Clara, the influencer who lives off her parents' trust fund, that's your guru now? I shot back. Sophie's face hardened. At least she believes in me. She doesn't try to control me with cash. Control? The accusation was a knife, twisting deep. "I funded your dream because I believed in you," I said, my voice breaking, "and you've erased me from it." She paused at the door, her hand on the knob, rain streaking the windows behind her. "Keep the ring," she said, her voice soft but final. "It was never really me." And then she was gone, the door clicking shut, leaving me alone with the ring and the rain. I stood there, staring at the counter, the emerald catching the light like a mocking eye. This wasn't just a breakup, it was a betrayal. A rewriting of our story where I was the villain and she was the hero. I sank onto the couch, the city's hum muffled by the storm. My phone buzzed, probably a friend, maybe a work email, but I ignored it. I could already imagine Sophie's next move. She'd be on Instagram by morning, posting some cryptic quote about choosing herself, Clara cheering her on in the comments. And me? I'd be left picking up the pieces of a life I thought we were building together. But as the rain pounded harder, something shifted inside me. I wasn't going to let her rewrite our story. Not without a fight. What did I have left? A stack of receipts, a partnership agreement, and a sinking feeling that the woman I loved was gone long before she walked out that door. The river outside kept flowing, indifferent, carrying my anger and her lies downstream. Tomorrow I'd start digging. Bank statements, contracts, proof of every dollar I'd poured into Greenhaven. If Sophie wanted to play the self-made queen, she'd have to face the truth. Empires don't get built on dreams alone. They need someone like me, the guy who believed in her when no one else did. And I wasn't about to let her forget it. The rain hasn't let up in Portland. It's been 3 weeks since Sophie walked out, leaving her engagement ring on our kitchen counter like a discarded prop. The loft feels hollow now, the kind of quiet that presses against your eardrums. The Willamette River churns outside my windows, its surface a restless gray under the October sky, mirroring the storm inside me. I'm Ethan Caldwell, 29, and I'm sitting at my desk, surrounded by a fortress of paperwork. Bank statements, invoices, the partnership agreement that ties me to Greenhaven Designs, Sophie's dream that I bankrolled with $85,000, 0 cents of my grandfather's inheritance. My laptop glows with the studio's cloud accounting software, numbers blinking like warning lights. Sales are tanking, expenses are climbing, and Sophie's still out there, painting me as the bad guy on Instagram. I should be furious. But all I feel is this gnawing ache, like I've lost something I can't name. How do you mourn a person who's still walking around, rewriting your shared history? I sip my coffee, cold now, and stare at the ring in its velvet box tucked beside my keyboard. It's a reminder, not of love, but of trust betrayed. Sophie's out there living with Clara, her influencer best friend who's convinced her I'm some patriarchal villain. Her latest Instagram post, a selfie in front of Greenhaven's glass roof, reads, "Choosing my truth over comfort." Self-made female founder. The comments are a parade of heart emojis and "Yas Queen" from her new crew of empowered entrepreneurs. Self-made, I funded every inch of that studio, from the reclaimed oak tables to the ivy-covered walls. My phone buzzes. A text from my buddy Nate. "Dude, Sophie's at it again. You okay?" I don't reply. Instead, I pull up the partnership agreement, my name bolded next to 51% ownership. She can spin her story online, but paper doesn't lie. The next morning, I'm at a coffee shop in Northwest Portland, the kind with exposed pipes and baristas who look like they moonlight in indie bands. The air smells of roasted beans and wet wool, the windows fogged from the drizzle outside. My lawyer, Rachel, slides into the booth across from me, her briefcase thumping on the table. "You're in a strong position," she says, flipping through my stack of documents. "Your name's on the lease, the business registration, the invoices. She can't just erase you." I nod, my jaw tight. "What are my options?" Rachel leans forward, her voice steady but sharp. "We can force a sale, split the assets per the agreement. You could buy her out, or she could buy you out. Though I doubt she has the cash. Or you take control as majority owner and run the show." I picture myself walking into Greenhaven, taking over the studio I never wanted to run. It's tempting, but it feels like burning down a house we built together. "Let's start with a letter," I say. "Formal, legal, laying out my investment and rights. See how she responds." Rachel drafts the letter that afternoon, and by evening it's sent to Sophie's lawyer, some guy Clara knows, who fancies himself a feminist advocate. His response arrives 48 hours later, and it's a doozy. I'm in my loft, the city lights smearing across the river like spilled paint, when Rachel forwards me the email. It accuses me of leveraging financial privilege to control a female entrepreneur, and undermining Sophie's autonomy. I laugh out loud, the sound echoing in the empty space. "This isn't a legal argument," Rachel says over the phone. "It's a TED Talk for Instagram activists." She's right. It's all buzzwords, no substance. But it stings, knowing Sophie's feeding this narrative, turning our partnership into a soap opera where I'm the mustache-twirling villain. Meanwhile, Greenhaven's Instagram is a daily assault. Sophie posts photos of herself arranging gold-plated lamps captioned, "Building my empire one bold choice at a time, women who lead." Clara's in the comments, egging her on, "Don't let anyone dim your light, babe." The studio's books tell a different story. I still have access to the accounting software and the numbers are grim. A $5,000, 0 cents photo shoot for a luxury collection that sold 3 pieces, a $2,000 0 cents influencer campaign with 0 ROI, and a stack of unsold velvet chairs gathering dust. Customers are leaving reviews on Yelp, brutal ones. Used to love their eco-friendly vibe, but now it's just overpriced Instagram bait. Tried to buy a table, got a lecture on decolonizing design instead. Sophie's chasing likes, not sales, and it's killing the business I funded. I'm at my desk, crunching numbers, when my phone rings. It's Sophie's dad, Mike, a retired firefighter with a voice like gravel. "Ethan, I owe you an apology," he says, no preamble. "I've seen Sophie's posts and I know it's bull. We raised her better than this." I lean back, the river outside glinting under a rare break in the clouds. "I appreciate that, Mike. She's not herself." He sighs, heavy. "It's that Clara girl. She's got Sophie's head all twisted up with this empowerment nonsense. Me and Linda were sick about it." We talk for a bit, and he tells me Sophie's been dodging their calls, saying they're stuck in old-school thinking. Before he hangs up, he says, "Just don't let her drag you down, son. You're better than that." His words stick with me, but they don't ease the ache. I'm not just fighting for my money. I'm fighting for the truth. For the years I spent believing in Sophie. I start digging deeper, pulling every receipt, every email, every contract. The paper trail is ironclad. $70,000, 0 cents of my inheritance wired directly to vendors, landlords, and suppliers. My name's on the lease, the business license, even the utility bills. Sophie can't rewrite that no matter how many hashtags she uses. A week later, Rachel calls. Sophie wants to meet. No lawyers, just you two. Says she wants to resolve this amicably. I'm skeptical, but I agree. We meet at a cafe on Alberta Street, a cozy spot with mismatched furniture and a mural of Mount Hood on the wall. The air smells of cinnamon and espresso, and the windows are streaked with rain. Sophie slides into the booth across from me, looking different. Her hair's messier, her eyes shadowed like she hasn't slept. "Thanks for coming," she says, her voice softer than I expect. I cut to the chase. "What do you want, Sophie?" She hesitates, twisting a napkin in her hands. "The studio's struggling. I need more capital." I stare at her, waiting for the punchline. When it doesn't come, I laugh, sharp and bitter. "You're kidding, right? After you've trashed me online, turned our friends against me, you want more money?" Her face flushes, but she pushes on. "It wasn't personal, Ethan. I was hurt. I said things I didn't mean." I lean forward, my voice low, deliberate. "Not personal? You called me a financial abuser in a group chat. You told the world you built Greenhaven from nothing. That's as personal as it gets." She looks away, out the window where the rain's picking up, drumming against the glass. "I'm sorry," she mumbles. "But the studio's everything to me. I can't lose it." "Funny," I say, my voice colder now. "I thought we were everything to you once." She flinches, but I'm not done. "Here's the deal. Option 1, we sell the studio, pay off the debts, and split what's left per our agreement, which, by the way, gives me the lion's share since I funded it. Option 2, you buy me out with interest, and you stop dragging my name through the mud, publicly." Her eyes widen panic. "I can't afford that, Ethan. You know I can't." I shrug, leaning back. "Then it's option 1, your call." The cafe feels smaller now, the air thick with tension. Sophie's silent, her fingers shredding the napkin. I wait, letting the moment stretch, the rain outside filling the silence. Finally she nods, barely perceptible. "I'll think about it." She stands, grabs her bag, and leaves without another word. I watch her disappear into the rain, her silhouette blurred by the fogged-up windows. I should feel victorious, but all I feel is empty. The next day, Greenhaven's Instagram goes dark. No posts, no stories, just silence. I'm at work, debugging code in a fluorescent-lit office that smells of stale coffee, when Nate texts me, "Check Sophie's IG, something's up." I pull it up, and there it is. A single post, a black square with white text, statement from Greenhaven Designs. In transparency, I must clarify that this business was made possible by significant investment from my former partner, Ethan Caldwell. Claims suggesting I built this alone were inaccurate. I apologize for any misconceptions. It's not a full confession, but it's something. The comments are a mix of confusion and awkward support, but Clara's notably silent. I find out later that Rachel helped draft the post as part of a settlement. The terms are clear. Sophie keeps running the studio, I retain 51% ownership but stay hands-off, and she pays me monthly to buy out my share over 5 years, with interest. She's also barred from making any more negative references about me, online or otherwise. It's a win, but it doesn't feel like one. I'm still the guy who lost his fiancée, his friends, and a chunk of his savings to a dream that wasn't mine. Then things get weird. I'm walking home from work, cutting through a park where the maples are shedding crimson leaves, when my phone buzzes with an unknown number. "Ethan, it's Jake, from Greenhaven Supplier in Salem." His voice is tense, urgent. "I don't know what's going on, but someone's been sniffing around our warehouse asking about your payments. Said they're with some investor group, but it felt off." I stopped dead, the wind rustling through the trees. "What do you mean, off?" He hesitates. "They knew details. Your name? The exact amount you wired. Only someone with access to your books would know that." My mind races. "Sophie? Clara? Someone else? Keep an eye out," I tell him. "And don't share anything without my say-so." That night, I'm back in the loft, the river a black mirror outside. I pull up the studio's accounts, double-checking every transaction. Nothing's missing, but something feels wrong, like a shadow moving just out of sight. I text Rachel asking her to dig into any investor groups, poking around Greenhaven. The next morning, she calls with a bombshell. "There's no investor group," she says, but I traced the inquiries to a shell company linked to Clara's cousin, some shady tech bro named Derek. Word is he's been trying to buy up failing businesses on the cheap, flipping them for profit. My blood runs cold. Clara's been in Sophie's ear this whole time. Could she be orchestrating a takeover? I confront Sophie at the studio, the warehouse smelling of sawdust and paint, the glass roof streaked with rain. She's arranging a new display, her hands trembling slightly. "What's Clara up to?" I demand, keeping my voice low but firm. Sophie freezes, a lamp dangling in her hand. "What are you talking about?" I step closer, the air between us crackling. "Her cousin Derek. He's been digging into our books, trying to buy Greenhaven out from under us. Did you know?" Her face pales, and for the first time I see fear in her eyes. Clara mentioned something about an investor, but I didn't think." She stops, her voice breaking. I trusted her. "Ethan." The admission hangs there, heavy. I want to scream, "Nicholas," to tell her she's been played, but something in her expression stops me. She's not the confident influencer from Instagram anymore. She's scared. Cornered. "Fix this," I say, my voice hard. "Or I will." I leave her there, the sound of rain on the roof following me out. The next week is a blur of phone calls and late-night research. Rachel uncovers more. Derek's shell company has a history of strong-arming small businesses, using leaked financials to pressure owners into selling cheap. Clara's been feeding him Greenhaven's data, likely stolen from Sophie's laptop. I'm furious, but there's a strange relief in knowing Sophie might not be the mastermind, just another pawn in Clara's game. I start reaching out to our suppliers, locking down accounts, changing passwords. Jake agrees to flag any more suspicious inquiries. Then Clara's world implodes. Someone, Nate, I later learn, digs up her old social media posts, a treasure trove of hypocrisy. Tweets mocking environmental activism while posing with disposable coffee cups, photos in culturally insensitive outfits at music festivals, a blog post claiming poverty is just a mindset. The internet does what it does best. It cancels her. Her follower count tanks, her brand deals vanish, and she blocks Sophie, throwing her under the bus with a statement. I was misled about Greenhaven's origins. I can't align with dishonesty. Classic Clara. Rewriting herself as the victim. Sophie's new boyfriend, a pretentious art collector named Julian, ghosts her when the truth about Greenhaven's funding comes out. He wanted a power couple, Nate tells me over beers at a dive bar, the jukebox blaring Tom Petty. Not a charity case. I don't laugh. I'm too tired. But the fallout keeps coming. Our mutual friends, the ones who'd gone silent, start reaching out. I should have asked for your side, my friend Mia says over coffee, her voice sheepish. Sophie was so convincing, but it never added up. Others don't apologize, just slide back into my life like nothing happened. I let it go. Drama's exhausting, and I'm done carrying it. The Greenhaven starts to recover. Sophie, humbled, ditches the velvet chairs and brings back the reclaimed wood. The Instagram posts shift to actual designs, not filtered selfies. Sales tick up, slowly but steadily. I stay out of it, letting her run the show, while Rachel handles the payments. I take the money and funnel it into a scholarship fund for local business students, focusing on sustainable startups. It feels good, like I'm turning this mess into something worthwhile. A month later, I run into Sophie at a riverside cafe, the same one where we'd hashed out our settlement. The Willamette sparkles under a rare sunny day, seagulls circling overhead. She looks worn, her usual polish faded, but there's a quiet determination in her eyes. I'm sorry, Ethan, she says, her voice barely above a whisper. For everything. I got lost. I nod. The anger's still there, but softer now, like a bruise that's starting to fade. Just make it right, I tell her. Not for me, for you. She smiles, small and sad, and I walk away, the river's current pulling me forward. Clara's gone, last I heard, chasing her next vibe in LA. Sophie's alone now, running the studio with a focus I haven't seen in months. I get a call from a professor at Portland State asking me to mentor a cohort of startup students. Your experience with Greenhaven makes you a perfect fit, she says. I agree, not mentioning Sophie, just sharing what I've learned. Focus on substance, not flash. Trust your gut, but verify the numbers. The ring stays in my safe deposit box, a reminder not of love lost, but of lessons hard won. I'm dating someone new now, a woman named Lauren, who runs a non-profit and laughs at my bad coding jokes. She's real, grounded, the opposite of Instagram filters. As for Sophie, she's still out there, posting about Greenhaven with less fanfare, more heart. The studio's surviving, maybe even thriving, because she's finally running it like a business, not a performance. The river keeps flowing, carrying away the wreckage of what we were. I don't know what's next for her or for me, but for the first time in months, I feel like I'm moving forward, not just treading water. And that's enough for now.